Welcome, welcome to the people who are watching or will be watching on YouTube. Hi, everybody. So just a reminder about the retreat, April 22nd, which will be in the usual format from 9 to noon or 9 to 1. There's, plenty of time to sign up, but I haven't sent out the link yet, but I will in a little while. So I'd like to begin tonight with just a little bit of a teaching. There's traditionally not a whole lot of verbal teaching goes along with Qigong, but this is breathing earth Qigong, so also has to do with the Dharma. And the early Buddhists in China, the Chan Buddhists, were Taoist practitioners, and we're talking 1,000 years ago. So a lot of the Taoist portions of the Dharma of the Chan Buddhism were omitted or dropped entirely when it went to Japan and became Soto Zen, and the Japanese they really cleansed it and made it very Japanese. It made it very spare and very essential, and dropped away a lot of the Taoist teachings and the entirety of Qigong, which was very much a part of the original. So just really basically, bottom line here, what are we doing? What's the background for this? And if you're all familiar, let's see if I have it here. You're all familiar with the Tai Chi symbol of the yin and yang, or the yin and yang. This here, everybody's familiar with that symbol. It's part of popular culture, and the reason that's useful as a Taoist symbol is because it's stating that everything arises with its opposite. And so in describing the world of form, if there's a world of form, which there is a world of formlessness. Okay, there has to be, because the only way something exists is if its opposite co-arises with it. Kind of just the basic rules. You really can't argue with it. It's like if you're playing baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. You can't argue. That's just the rules of that game. So the way it works in this universe is, everything co-arises with its opposite. So we can become aware of this right away. As soon as we sit down to do meditation, even if we're beginners, we'll recognize that thoughts are appearing out of nowhere, and they're lingering, and then they disappear. It's quite obvious. It's the same with sensations. We'll feel the body, and then we won't feel it, and we'll hear something, and then we won't know. This is this is what the Buddhists call impermanence, and this is the fundamental way that this reality manifests, okay, according to these teachings. So in the Taoist view of this, we're often caught in the world of form, particularly in a very materialist society, which we live in. We're very caught in the world of form, and therefore we're very attached to our thinking, because thoughts are forms. Okay, thoughts are non-physical things. Okay, as opposed to formlessness, where the mind's empty. And we've all experienced thinking, and we've experienced non-thinking. So, it's just clear and obvious. So this is just how it works. So when we're meditating, somehow there's an awareness that forms appear and vanish, but we don't disappear, right? So what the Taoists say is that this is called awareness. Okay, so all this coming and going of form and formlessness, this all occurs within the sort of the bigger framework of awareness, which doesn't come and go, right? There's just awareness, right? And the separate self is dependent upon coming and going. Okay, so once we do a little meditation practice, once the mind becomes still or slows down, then we become more aware of the spaciousness between the thoughts or behind the thoughts or in which the thoughts appear. Okay, but that's just formlessness or emptiness or boundlessness. That's what that is. It feels like awakening because we're so locked into the world of form. It comes as a great relief that we can, relax and not be thinking all the time, right? It's just a great relief. And that's great. And meditation will do that for us. And Qigong will do that for us. And, walking in the woods can do that for us. Poetry, there's many ways we can access that. And then in the Taoist view, then we step back and take the larger picture. And we say, well, what is it that's manifesting into form and disappearing into boundlessness? Like, what is that? What's going on? Why does that pattern exist? And it exists at the micro level of thoughts, and even our cells are being born and living and dying, and things are constantly, everyone knows this is an impermanent reality. A human life appears out of nowhere and lingers and then disappears. This is just the way this works. So what is it that's doing that? Why is it doing that? And what is it that's doing that? Okay. And then we reach the end of thinking, because the mind can't answer that question, because the mind itself is a manifestation of that. Okay. You follow me? Yeah, some people are nodding. Okay. So once there's this, we're aware of this awareness, this bigger awareness, suddenly it's everywhere. And this is Qi. Okay. This is what we're always talking about Qi. And my friend Walt was just telling me today that he's been reading a book written by a scientist, a medical scientist, who said that consciousness arises out of collections of neurons that fire, like in the brain. Those collections also exist, it turns out, in the heart and in the belly. Okay, they're just realizing this, right? So that's the lower dantian, the middle dantian, and the upper dantian. And we're for 3,000 years ago, they knew that, right? And so that's what we're doing here. Okay, so this kind of, just in a very just brief nutshell, what we're doing with this practice, and we're helping us to do with meditation practice, is to be able to move beyond form and beyond formlessness, also beyond awareness, and just experience the Qi, the energy that's taking all these forms and doing this huge dance. That's really about it. that's kind of all it is, So the reason I'm telling you all this is because you're all smart and you're all educated, and you put we all put a lot of stock in our thinking, our ability to think, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this is just sort of a way to understand all of this. And it is useful, I think, to have an idea of what's going on. So today we're going to be experimenting and manifesting that Qi energy, that the stuff, if you could call it that, the stuff that's actually going through this incredible dance, you know, in our bodies, in our minds, in our society, in the world, in the universe, is going on all the time, right? And would just sort of embody that, just experience it. That's all. That's it. And why is that useful? Well, I can't tell you. You have to find out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch this view. There we go. Okay. So what's going on? Are thoughts arising and passing away, or not? Are there sensations? You're aware of bodily sensations, aware of the environment, sounds, or whatever. But just notice, as soon as we notice, we're already dropping into that awareness. And it helps to be still, to allow this activity to settle. And once we become still, then we notice the movement, right? The breath, the breathing, the movement. So in stillness, there is movement. They co-arise. So there's the body, breath, and mind. And when those are in harmony, awareness appears, or just is. And now this is just check in with the tingling and warmth in the body. And so that the tingling and warmth is not the chi, but it's how we feel it. Okay. Okay, very good. Now let's go ahead and go into Trembling Mountain. Okay, and this is perhaps the most basic and the oldest form of Qigong. When we're doing this, we're intentionally harmonizing the body with the constant movement in the world, in reality. Okay? Everything's moving. Everything's moving, right? Even solid objects, they're made up of all these tiny particles that are moving, 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 moving. Everything's moving. The air, the objects, Everything's moving. And by doing this, we're bringing this being, this mind body system, we're bringing this being consciously into harmony with impermanence. Okay, very good. So, just do this gently. And now let's go ahead, and while we're doing Trembling Mountain, just let go of the head and neck. Loosen up your head and neck. And shoulders. Sort of lift them and drop them. So we're relaxing the upper body and shaking out the tightness, the stress. Okay, and let's go into the Tai Chi twist. Now you can adjust the speed of Trembling Mountain. You can make it slower if you want to, or you can do it fast. So we're doing these opening movements in the presence of this felt impermanence. So reality is made up of an infinite number of little bits, right? We're kind of, in a sense, we're kind of chopping up the movements, but they're still flowing. Okay, let's reduce the movements and reduce the Trembling Mountain. And return to stillness. And what we're feeling is this rapidly fluctuating energetic presence. You can feel it as tingling and warmth in the body. So this is really being one with impermanence, isn't it? Everything's rapidly changing. Okay. Okay, very good. Well, let's go ahead and moving down the body. Let's do so. Focusing on the breath. And the in-breath co-arises with the out-breath. Opening co-arises with closing. Let's do a couple more. So that's one, being one with the breath. And so before we loosen the hips and do the balancing, let's just engage the mind now. Bring to mind this the vertical axis. So this can be, you can imagine a laser beam of light from the center of the earth up through the body, out the top of the head, extending infinitely. Or you can imagine the body is enclosed in this column of light, that's like the laser beam going all the way up, all the way down. And then you can bring to mind the spine. And the spine is not straight, but it's straight left to right. And the crown of the head is above the heart, which is above the belly. And we're aligning these centers of consciousness. Okay. So this really helps down with the balance and so on. So let's go ahead and rock the pelvis. And then when you're ready, go up and move into the circling the pelvis. And these are really good if we spend a lot of time sitting down. Okay, and then just returning. And then so revisualizing. The visualization is helpful, but the main thing is feeling. So feeling aligned, feeling vertical. That's the most important. So, and then we can feel that we're balanced on left and right. All right, and then when you're ready, sort of sink the knee, bend the knee, sink into one side. And now that laser beam or that column, it gets directly over the weighted foot. Okay, and then placing the foot and then shifting the weight. Now the laser beam or column moves over that foot. And when it's solid, when it goes down into the earth and all the way up, when it's solid, then we're more able to lift the other leg. So if you're a visual person, if you use your imagination a lot, this is the column and so on, that's very helpful. If that really isn't where you live, don't worry about it. Just feel it. Okay. All right, very good. Okay, backwash, tree, and spring. Let's do this 3 times. That really is spring now. You maybe see some of the bulbs, flowers coming up. You see the buds swelling on the maple trees. Okay, and then so we're bringing this, the ancients would say we're bringing this earth chi up through the center of the body. That's why we're pointing to the body. Up and out. Now, the tree is probably the most fundamental image in Qigong and in Taoism. It's very, very rooted in nature. And this is embedded even in the way they write the pictograms. Pictographs, I guess. Okay. The backwash is also called a waterfall. So all of this is, there's no separation with nature. Qi is in all of nature, and we're just a part of that. Okay, so the ancients delineated earth, human, and what they called heaven. So it's a vertical orientation. That the earth is below, and we come from the earth, and heaven, or boundlessness, emptiness, formlessness, is above. It's a source of light. They called heaven the place where light comes from. So they meant the sun, the moon, and the stars. So there's this vertical orientation, with the human being the combination, the dynamic combination of heaven and earth. And so there is definitely this vertical orientation. At the same time, the teaching is, if there are opposites, down and up are, opposite, Then they form something dynamic. It's the spinning of the Tai Chi symbol. So in addition to this up and down and this verticality, there's what they would call radiance. Okay. So in tree and spring, just as an example, so we're pointing down to begin. We're bringing up that and we're focusing on the central axis of the body, the human, and then up, extend up into the source of light, heaven. Okay. But now what do we do? So now there's this radiance all around. This isn't up and down. This is all around. So this is like a sphere or an oval all around the body. Okay. Okay. So the radiance includes the vertical and the horizontal and the front to back and the left and right. It includes all of that. You see? So this is the teaching. So the radiance is the awareness. So it's within this field that up and down exists, and left and right exist, and front and back exist. Okay, so that's all in that's all in tree and spring. You know, if you do it with understanding and with intention, that's all there. So so why don't we go into cloud hands, and when we have the palms up and down, so this is about manifesting that radiance. Now we're not owls, so we can't turn all the way around. If we could, we'd go all the way around. So we're doing this left and right in the front, but this also means it's all around. Okay. And so there's a freedom in this. There's kind of a rigidity in the verticality, but in the field, in the radiance, there's this. And so here, just go ahead and sort of inhabit this space around the body. And with your mind, it's also behind. Okay, it's left, right, and front. It's also behind. And so you can just kind of feel behind yourself. So this is called enlivening the field. Okay, and this is joyful. All of this energy has a quality of joyfulness to it. Okay, it's not neutral. There's a quality of joy in this. Just joy, just in moving, being able to move. Being able to breathe. There's just a joy in it. Very simple. Okay, good. All right, and keep going, and then now switch the hands so that the palms face each other. The same thing. Only now we're circulating this within the body, as well as around the body. I would say if you're Qigong teacher or you're Buddhist teacher, if they're grim, if they're grim, you might want to think twice. Okay, very good. And then reducing. Okay, now we're returning to the body. So naturally there's this alignment. Okay. And this is the Qigong part of this. It's the healing part of this, that we can use our intention and our awareness to move the energy up and down and move it around in the body, or at least be aware of it. So let's start with a breath practice. So breathing in air through the nose and breathing in, imagining breathing in through the bottoms of the feet. So we imagine breathing in, we feel it, it comes in, it expands the body, and then the body relaxes and we breathe out the bottoms of the feet. So there's the up and down, right? And there's the expansion and contraction. There's the radiance where the body fills up and then relaxes. Okay, and now let's engage the body with this a little more. So same, continue the practice. So up, hands come up. Okay, so you can get the up and down. So we're breathing in as if we had roots, breathing out back into the earth. At the same time, there's this expansion and releasing. So we can do breathing the stars too. So breathing in through the bottom of the feet and then breathing out the pores of the skin in all directions. Okay, so the up and down, and then the radiating in all directions. Okay, and you can breathe in or out either way. So you can breathe in going down or coming up. Let's do a couple more. All right, good. And now the other side of that. So from the universe, so breathing in through the top of the head, breathing out, then you can breathe out in all directions. Let's do a couple more. Okay. Okay, and now we'll just go back to tree and spring. We're going to breathe in through the bottoms of the feet, out the top of the head. In the bottoms of the feet, out the top of the head. And we'll practice this for a couple of minutes and go ahead and change the practice any way you can do the breathing of the stars. You can breathe up from the earth, you can breathe down from the heavens, whatever you want. And then let's be aware of the vertical, the earth, human, heaven, and then also the radiance. Let's do a few more. Okay, so just check in with the vertical, way down, the roots, way down into the earth, the body, and then the heavens, way up into the universe. Okay, and then just feel the tingling, feel the radiance, feel the skin, the area around the body. Okay, very good. Okay, so once it's established, then we can do flying crane, because this is about inhabiting. The crane flies up in the air, up in the sky. So, but unlike the crane, we're also rooted. We're rooted in the earth. So there's the vertical, and then there's the radiance. Okay, so if you like, you can imagine that the wings extend out very far, all around. Just like the verticality extends down into the earth, up, way up. And there's a deity in Buddhism, Avalokiteshvara, who's pictured with 10,000 arms and hands going in all directions. So, and she's inhabiting the radiant world. Behind you, And she has an eye in the palm of every hand. This is awareness, awareness of the radiant nature, what they would call the original nature. Okay, let's reduce some movements. Okay, let's bring one hand to the lower dantian, the other to the middle. So awareness resides in the brain, in the heart, and in the belly. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up our stool. And again, here we're going to align, let the body come into alignment vertically. It's not a rigid uprightness. There's some flexibility, like a tree. You know, it'll blow in the wind a little. And we can feel inside the body, we can feel the breath. And we can extend our perception to the skin, to the border between the body and the outer world. Feel that all around. And now with the out breath, extend the attention out in all directions. In breath comes back into the body. At the end of the out breath is a pause. You can continue to extend during that pause. So the body is sitting in the midst of this field, and of this luminous sphere. And that field of energy, it is conscious. It contains the body. You can feel it from the point of view of the body, or you can feel the body from the point of view of this bigger awareness. It's kind of like a body within a bigger, more nebulous body. So the physical body might feel like a sack of water, liquid, and the nebulous body would be kind of like a cloud or fog. It's water too, but it's more diffuse. And then beyond that is this sort of big cloud of light. So however many bodies, they're all in harmony, and they're all energetic. They're made of energy, and they're all vibrating. They're all chi. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. And just check in with the posture, the uprightness, sensations in the body, the skin, internally. Okay, and then just subtly begin to move fingers, toes, and so on. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and do our closing. We'll clap our hands one time. 1, 2, 3. And if you massage your eye sockets, be sure not to massage your eyeballs. They don't want to be massaged. And tapping the kidneys. And massaging the kidneys. Okay, well, thank you so much for your presence, and thank you for your practice. It affects not only you, but affects all of us. And have a good week, I guess. And if you'd like to exit the Zoom, please do that. And if you would like to stay for questions or comments, then we'll do that.
So why don't you want to massage your eyeballs?
I read that that's it's too stimulating for them. This isn't Qigong. I mean, this is medical. That there's just so many nerve endings, and they're so complex and delicate. It's just not good for them. It's news to me. I read that. I can't remember where, but I read that recently. And then they say, no, don't try not to rub your eyes in general. I mean, it's not going to hurt yourself seriously, but you don't want to get into a habit of doing it. It's just not good for your eyes. I mean, you can check it out. I mean, Google it or something and see. I don't have the reference, but that's kind of what they're saying. The guy who wrote it, I think, was an MD, or the woman who wrote it, whoever it was. I think it was an MD.
Stephen, thank you for your comment about if your teacher is too grim. Basically, the implication is find another teacher.
Well, I didn't say that, but
but I heard that, and
okay.
that I'm fully in with that because I don't know. I experience joy in Qigong.
Yeah.
So
Well, the universal life force energy is pretty intense. I mean, it manifests as galaxies, for instance. So, when it comes into this little tiny system that we have, it's interpreted as bliss, I mean, awakening, it's bliss, joy, because it's just totally overwhelming, in a good way, not morally, but just, so that's, yeah. So, I mean, judge the tree by its fruit. That's all.
Right. And also it's becoming much more clear to me that it's what I'm doing here with you is cultivating that awareness of that chi. The chi is already in me, and because it's everywhere in all living things, but it's cultivating my awareness of it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yes. And your awareness of it and your ability to cultivate it and channel it and utilize it, moment to moment.
Yeah. Because I've been practiced, you mentioned it's always around. It's around. So it's radiating out of me, around me. It's not just up and down. And that makes it does with a tree.
It's exactly. Yeah. This book I've been reading, and this guy is a translator, and he knows all the Chinese, we call them ideographs, the ancient, alphabet or whatever, and they're all based on nature. And the Tao is a tree. As the ideogram is a tree, and then those changed and evolved over time, and they look different, but that was how it all came out of that oneness with nature. The consciousness is not separate from nature. Yeah, that's something that the West did. That they never did that.
Mm.
So yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay, man. Thank you so much.
All right, great.
Good
Good to
night.
see you. Todd
Good to
going
see
for
ya.
dinner. Todd dinner's waiting for him, I know.
My stomach is always growling by the time we're done.
Okay, all right, go for it. See you.
I just wanted to say thanks for the talking about impermanence. And I could really feel that when we were doing the tree in spring, kind of going from being grounded in the earth and then in the body and then, into the light or the heavens and then radiating that over and over sort of transferring between those different states really made it feel like I could get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where often in my regular life, it's like conceptually I get it, but I don't embody it.
That's exactly it. Yes, that's exactly it. The whole thing, I mean, understanding is helpful. I mean, it's useful, but it's feeling it. That's where it lives. I'm just noticing your wonderful wood stove back there. So, all right, so you heat with wood?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's still fairly wintry where I live, so
Do you live in the
no buds.
no? Where are you?
I am in the very northwest part of Michigan in the UP, so close to
Oh,
Lake Superior, close to northern Wisconsin, I guess.
oh, okay. All right. Right. So you know what a pasty is.
Oh yeah, I live in like part of Pastyville.
Wow. Well, yes. So do you live rurally?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
live outside of the city of Houghton, if you're familiar, if you've been this way.
I've been up that way. I don't can't say I remember that city. I've been up there skiing, and
Okay.
I've been up there just looking around. I've driven through up there. It's beautiful up there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I had a stove pretty much like that. We lived out in the country for about 15 years too, and we heated with wood, but we had a propane backup.
Mm-hmm. We have a furnace, but it doesn't get used. I mean, pretty much unless we're out of town or it's a
Exactly.
really cold night.
Yeah, out of town. Yeah. Yeah, wood stoves are wonderful. So you cut your own wood?
Yeah. Yep. We've been working on that steadily the last few weeks.
Mm,
Try to do that before the snow is completely gone, before the
mm,
birds return.
mm. So do you have a splitter?
We do. Sort of. It's our neighbors, but yeah,
That's good.
we
That's
use it.
good. Yeah. Splitting wood is fun for a little while.
Yeah, it is, but not for 4 chords worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's cool. No, I didn't even know where you lived.
Thank you so much. This is
Yeah.
just
Thanks for coming, and thanks for signing up for the retreat.
you betcha.
All right.
Good night.
You too.